Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Have another Uchu Sentai Kyuranger review for you today. This is the DX Houou Blade and Houou Shield. And this is the 12th Kyuranger Houou Soldier, pictured very prominently here on the right side of the box. This is his henshin device and weapon, so it's kind of a one-stop shop for him. He's got everything in one here, so he's got a sword and a shield, and you can plug the sword into the shield, and that's kind of part of his henshin. And we'll take a look at all that. Houou in Japan is kind of the Japanese word for phoenix, but it's also like their own mythical animal that's very similar to a phoenix, so it's kind of a phoenix and not. I mean, a lot of places when I've looked online will say Houou is just the Japanese word for phoenix, and it kind of is, but it's kind of also their own mythical bird that's very similar to a phoenix, so take it what you will. But it's very similar to a phoenix. In any case, taking a look up top here, really nice group shot of all the Kyurangers there. Kind of fun little bubblehead picture there on the bottom. On the side here, you have a picture of Houou Soldier. And on this side, you have another pretty cool group shot. It's hard to keep the box in frame when it's super long and gigantic in general. But yeah, basically you see the sword and the shield sword plugs into the shield. Kyutama plugs into the sword. We'll get to all that. And then you can use the sword to summon the Voyager and also to form Gigan Houou. Spoiler alert, unfortunately it doesn't say the name of it doesn't say Gigan Houou, but we'll get to that in a minute. And it does take 2 AAA batteries, which will go in the sword. We'll get there in a minute as well, but it says it down here in the corner. So that's pretty much it for the packaging. Pretty massive, but it's the shield is really big. So let's get everything out of the packaging and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here is everything you get in the package. First off, you have the number 12 Kyutama for Houou. You can see the nice hollow foil sticker there for number 12. The bird's kind of long, awesome tail, kind of curves around. I like the look of this Kyutama. I think it's a really neat design. I like the picture they drew for the Houou or Phoenix. That is it half filled in. That's all the way filled in. Here is the pin system underneath. If we shine the light through the back, that's good. You can see the bird's kind of, I don't know if it's shooting flames or if it's rising out of the flames. But it's a pretty cool picture there. I like that. So, very cool Kyutama. Obviously, this will play a role in us playing with this, but we'll get there in a minute. I'm going to put it off to the side just for a moment, and I will take a look at it in the Seiza Blaster as well towards the end. So this is the sword plugged into the shield. Looking around the back, here's the little handle to hold the shield. It's very tiny. You can see my adult hands do not fit in it completely. This button is a release, but you also have to press the trigger on the sword. So you have to hold this button down and this button down to pull it out of the shield. So here is the shield on its own. You can see the Houou painted, and then it's kind of all coming together there. I think that looks pretty cool. I believe when it's all put in together, it's supposed to look like a phoenix or a Houou bird, because you can see here's the head of the bird here on the hilt of the sword, and then you kind of have the flames going, and then like the tail feathers are down here. So I think that's what they're going for, but then they also have a look for just the shield on its own when he's using it when he has the blade out. So that's kind of cool. There's no electronics in the shield. It is just a holster. There's just this button for that release right there. There's this black piece right here. That's the release. So I'm going to put this off to the side just for one moment, just so I can show off the sword here. Nice paint here on the handle. I like the red eye. Yeah, I'm sorry, the green eye with the red around it. My brain's working today. Here's the on and off switch. The AA batteries go right here. You just unscrew right there. Trying to find where the speaker is on this. I guess this is the speaker right here. I think so. So if you turn it on, you can see the LED glow. And on its own, you just get a couple random sword sounds. Now, it's pretty tiny, even as Japanese roleplay sword toys go. It's really more just like a little dagger than a sword or blade. I guess technically blade could be like a dagger. But on the show, it's obviously much bigger. But roleplay sword toys are always shorter than you'd like them to be. But, yeah, that's what it is. So if we take this, let me bring the shield back in. Like I said, you get, on its own, you get the generic sword slash sounds. You plug it in. And it kind of makes that like magical sounding bird screech. And it'll just keep doing that over and over again. That's the only sound you get when it's plugged in. Now you can take the Kyutama and plug it in right here. Pressing the trigger on its own does nothing. You have to hold this down and pull it out. And you can see it did nothing. It's kind of weird. Basically what you have to do, and I'll show you again. The directions for this toy, I have to say, obviously if you could read Japanese, it'd be much easier. But it's kind of confusing, and I had to play with it a little bit before I kind of figured out how it works. So you go ahead and put this back in. And then you have to hold the trigger down. Now pull it out. So there you go. Now you're transformed into Houou Soldier. If you press the button again, and then you go back to the slash sounds. So if you put it in again, hold down the trigger one more time. You get a little bit different tune. And that's kind of his big attack sound. And then you're back to the sword slash sounds. So put it in again. Hold down your trigger again. So now he's going to call the Voyager. So it says Houou Voyager and kind of makes like a wing flapping sound, which is kind of funny because his Voyager, though, you know, called Houou Voyager, is not shaped like a bird at all. It's a spaceship, but wing flapping sounds. Sure. So it says docking. It makes the sounds like they're combining. But it doesn't say Gigant Houou. I really wish right there it said Gigant Houou. I don't know. I think that would be a lot of fun. I wish it said it there. Maybe the mech will say it when I get to that. And then this would be the combination with Shishi Red and all the Kyutama. So once again, you hear a lot of combination sounds, but it doesn't say Kyutama Jin. Wish it did. I like this jingle. So you might be thinking, hey, what happened? The attack fizzled out. Well, again, the directions are confusing if you don't read Japanese. how this one works. And another thing, which I'll demonstrate now because I want to get back to attack. If you want to just cycle through without having to pull out the sword each time, you can. You just have to keep holding the button down. Now, instead of pulling the sword out this time, just press the trigger again. So it says, Houou shield, and now you can just cycle through a bunch of phrases and sounds. Some of these music cues are fun. Get a little steel drum there. I think that's the last one. Yeah, so you're back to Houou shield. So if you would pull the sword out at this point, you would just go back to the random shield sounds. So it's kind of weird that you have to keep the sword in the shield to cycle through those attack sounds. Or maybe they're not attack sounds, maybe they're just random phrases. But you have to keep it in the shield to cycle through them. If you pull out, you'll just go back to the normal shield or slashing sounds for the sword. And again, just pressing this down does nothing. So now we're back to the beginning. Kind of like this music though. So that's pretty much it. To get the Kyutama out of here, you kind of just have to gently pull it forward and unhook it from these little like clippies that are in there. So yeah, that's it for sounds as far as all the different modes and you know, calling the Voyager, docking the Voyager, super docking, all the attack sounds and everything. So let's go ahead and check this out in the Seiza Blaster by itself. Alright, so just go ahead and pop this guy in here. Whoop, if I don't drop it. Again, you get the cool wing flapping sound, even though it's a spaceship. So there you go. That's the Houou Kyutama in the Seiza Blaster on its own. Pretty neat. very similar sounds to what you get with the blade and shield. But if you don't get the blade and shield, you can at least have some functionality with this on its own. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a bad toy, because it's certainly not. Maybe I was just a little underwhelmed. It's a little counterintuitive when you're trying to figure out like how to get all the sounds out of it. I'm sure if you can read Japanese fluently and if you're a Japanese kid, you can pick up those instructions and you know exactly what you're supposed to do. I get that. For me personally, because I can kind of read katakana, but I can't read fluently Japanese for the instructions, so I kind of had to watch a couple videos to figure out what I was doing. It's fun. I mean, obviously I would wish the sword was longer. That's always a complaint with Japanese sword roleplay toys, so it's not really that worth mentioning again. It's kind of neat that when you pop the Kyutama on here and you pull it out, that thing spins. I kind of appreciate that every time you pull the trigger it doesn't spin, because I feel like that would get annoying after a while. It only spins when you pull it out of the shield, because there's like a little pin on the back that's held down when you slide it in, and then when you slide it out, the pin pops out and makes that spin. So that's kind of neat. The LED is very nice. I like that. The sounds are fun. The only thing I really complain about is I wish when you did the docking it would say Gigant Houou, and when you did the super docking it would say Kyutama Jin. I don't know why they didn't. I feel like that's a real missed opportunity. Even if it was like you pulled it out, it did the sounds, then you press the trigger again and then it said it. But when you press the trigger again, on like I think all but the first one, it just goes back to the generic blade slashing sounds, which is kind of a bummer. So yeah, it's just kind of weird. Obviously you can cycle through. You have Call the Voyager, you have both kinds of docking, you have the attack. But then like times when you feel like because you've done it every other time you would pull the sword out again, it does nothing and just dies as far as sounds. Like in the beginning when you first put that Kyutama in and you just pull it out, it just dies. Or when you hear the attack and you pull it out, it just dies. So like you have to know when to press the trigger again and when to pull the sword out. And I guess just over time you'll figure that out the more you play with it. It is what it is. I'm trying to remember how much this thing was. I want to say it was somewhere in the area of like $50. So maybe wait for a sale. If you're someone who just wants the Kyutama, you can get a Houou Kyutama from the Mecha or just a Gashapon set. It's definitely going to be around. You shouldn't have any trouble picking it up. So, you know, if you're like, well, I just need the Kyutama, I would probably say, you know, you could wait for a sale for this and just grab either the Voyager Mecha or a Gashapon, you know, and see how it is. I would say you're probably going to get more use. I haven't reviewed the Mecha yet, but I'm pretty sure you'll probably play with the Mecha more than this, unless you're a small child, and then you might love this. I don't know. I personally probably won't get a ton of use out of this, but I'll fiddle with it a little bit. I definitely don't think it's as much fun as like the Ryu Seiho. I think that was more fun, maybe just because it was a little bit more intuitive. You know, I don't know, I like the colors better. I don't know. It's personal preference, but if I had to choose between this or the Ryu Seiho, I probably would pick that. I'm sorry, the Ryu Swader. I'm saying the wrong thing. Ryu Seiho is a dragon from Ghost Ager. Not Ghost Ager. Die Ranger. I'm really losing it today, guys. I apologize. But the giant dragon staff, the Ryu Swader, I think that's a more fun toy than this. And it's not that... I don't know why. It's just personal preference, I guess. Some people might like this better. Some people might like that better. But I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like there's a couple things they really missed on this that they could have tossed in to really make it a lot more fun. I don't know why I'm underwhelmed by this. It's not a bad toy. It's really not. You know, it's just a couple of missed opportunities that I personally wanted to be tossed in there that aren't there. So, you know, you might love this more than me. It's very possible. It has everything you need. And then I say, by all means, pick it up. I don't think you'll be terribly disappointed if you decide to buy it. I just, you know, maybe if there's a sale or later on towards the end they clearance it. I don't know how quick or fast it's going to go. I don't know. But I think it's okay. As far as roleplay toys go, it's perfectly fine. It just didn't excite me. It didn't wow me. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the DX Houou Blade and Houou Shield from Uchu Sentai Kyuranger. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.